Hey there, TRASTRA fans. Here I am, back from my travels, inviting you to take a dive into the deep end. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. This week, we've seen significant regulatory developments in the US and Canada. The US House Financial Services Committee approved the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. That's a freaking mouthful. Establishing registration rules for crypto firms. Meanwhile, Canada's financial watchdog is proposing changes to its approach to crypto assets. US prosecutors expectedly have dropped campaign finance charge against SB Sam Bankman-Fried, but he still faces other charges. We'll definitely talk about that. Worldcoin, new token, and something else, we'll talk about that, is making major headlines and creating a whirlwind of controversy, while Tether's excess reserves rose to $3.3 billion in Q2 2023. We'll talk about that briefly. A federal judge denied Terraform Labs' motion to dismiss a lawsuit from the SEC, and Palau, a mysterious Pacific Ocean island nation that always votes with the US whenever a United Nations General Assembly vote takes place, is running a trial of a stablecoin linked to the US dollar. And since it's government sanctioned, I'm guessing the stablecoin will function as a CBDC of some sort. We'll cover that. In Italy, a consortium of companies is developing an ecosystem for traditional financial institutions to delve into DeFi, and the Japan Blockchain Association is lobbying for changes in the national tax regime for digital assets. Russia is moving forward with its central bank digital currency, and Curve Finance experienced a $24 million exploit. What else? The SEC has filed a lawsuit against Richard Schuller, creator of, maybe you know about this, Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex, alleging the sale of unregistered securities. They did that in 2017. During their ICO. We'll talk about that. Lastly, U.S. Representative George Santos has been charged with 13 offenses, including embezzling campaign donations and falsely receiving unemployment benefits. And that's just a taste, so sit back and let me paint you a real big picture. Some big news on the U.S. regulatory front this past week. I know you couldn't care less about what's happening across the pond, but given that the U.S. Treasury is probably still the scariest organization on earth, I think you ought to pay attention. So, the U.S. House Financial Services Committee, FSC, has approved the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act in a 35-15 vote, aiming to establish registration rules for crypto firms with the Commodity Futures Trading Commissions or the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Bipartisan Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, which seeks to remove hurdles for blockchain developers and service providers, also passed a vote in the FSC. However, the Digital Assets Market Structure Bill faced opposition, with some lawmakers accusing it of favoring the crypto industry over regulatory guidance. Meanwhile, the U.S. Senate passed the $886 billion 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, which includes a crypto-related amendment requiring the establishment of examination standards for crypto and a study by the Treasury Department to crack down on anonymous crypto transactions. I guess it has something to do with the defense. I don't know. On the same note, Canada's financial watchdog is proposing changes to its capital and liquidity approach to crypto assets, according to the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. The proposed rules will simplify institutions' approach to perceived crypto risks, defining 4 categories of crypto assets and their capital treatment. The OSFI is opening public consultations on 2 draft guidelines until September 20th. One of the guidelines affects federally regulated deposit-taking institutions such as banks and credit unions, while another addresses the regulatory capital treatment of crypto asset exposure to insurers. Here's something interesting. U.S. prosecutors have dropped a campaign finance charge against Sam Bankman-Fried in a fairly brazen attempt to disassociate SBF from some of the names in the highest echelons of the U.S. politicum. The charge claimed that Bankman-Fried had illegally directed associates to donate millions to political campaigns. The decision to drop this charge came after the Bahamas, where Bankman-Fried was arrested, stated it had not intended to extradite him on that charge. And of course, who in the United States Department of Justice doesn't listen to what the Bahamas has to say about the kinks in the U.S. legal system? Despite this, Bankman-Fried still faces 7 counts of defrauding or conspiring to defraud customers, investors, and lenders. He also faces a second trial next year on charges including foreign bribery conspiracy and bank fraud conspiracy. So far, SBF has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Worldcoin, WLD, a new token that launched last week along with its mainnet, is making crypto news headlines. It's a project founded by OpenAI co-founder Sam Altman, and proposes a novel solution to differentiate humans from artificial intelligence in the digital landscape. However, WorldCoin has faced criticism, particularly for its use of biometric data, namely eye scans, for identity verification. I'm not going to go too deep into this thing here. There's plenty to read on the subject online. Plus, we did a video on it for our TikTok channel, so this would be a great time to remind you to subscribe to that, so please do. Moving on to Tether, whose excess reserves rose in Q2 2023 to $3.3 billion, an increase of $850 million, according to a report from accounting firm BDO. That report also revealed Tether's indirect exposure to U.S. treasuries, amounting to $72.5 billion. The company has been building up excess reserves using company profits following the collapse of FTX and other cryptocurrency lending firms. Tether's Q2 operational profits were $1 billion, a 30% increase from Q1. The report also noted that 85% of Tether's reserves are held in liquid investments, and its total assets are estimated at $86.4 billion. A federal judge denied stablecoin issuer Terraform Labs' motion to dismiss a lawsuit from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Monday, so yesterday, saying the regulatory agency has sufficiently argued it has jurisdiction and asserted a plausible claim that Terra USD, the Anchor Protocol, and Luna may have violated securities law. More importantly, perhaps, Judge Jad Rakoff of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York also rejected the use of a ruling from fellow Judge Annalisa Torres, who recently ruled that Ripple Labs, another defendant against the SEC, did not violate securities law and in making XRP available on secondary platforms for retail investors to purchase. Palau, a country comprising some 340 islands in the Pacific Ocean, is running a trial of a stablecoin linked to the US dollar. J. Hunter Anson, a member of the board of directors at the Ministry of Finance, told CoinDesk in a direct message. The project started in March with wallet design. The first stablecoin was minted in July, and the test will run through August, Anson said. The stablecoin will run on the XRP ledger, Ripple, which has been providing technical assistance and personnel, and Palau will also be leveraging Ripple's CBDC platform, a company press release said. In 2020, just a reminder, in 2021, the country said it would work with Ripple to develop strategies for a digital currency, and here it is, so they are doing it. A consortium of companies is receiving support from a research hub backed by Italy's central bank in a bid to develop an ecosystem for traditional financial institutions to wade deeper into DeFi. Setif Advisory, a research consultancy supporting banks, insurance companies, and other TradFi firms with digitalization solutions, announced it was receiving developmental support from the Milano Hub, a research center with backing from the Bank of Italy, for what it calls the institutional DeFi for security token ecosystem. The project, a collaboration with other companies that includes Polygon Labs and digital asset platform Fireblocks, aims to create a safe and open operating environment for institutional players, said Emmanuel Baharir, general manager of Setif Advisor, in a statement. The Japan Blockchain Association, GBA, a non-governmental lobbying group, has officially requested the Japanese government to revise the national tax regime for digital assets. The JBA argues that the current taxation of crypto assets is a significant barrier for Web3 businesses in Japan and discourages citizens from actively owning and using crypto assets. The association proposes three major changes to ease the fiscal burden on crypto holders. First, it seeks to eliminate the year-end unrealized gains tax on corporations holding crypto assets. Second, it suggests changing the taxation method for personal crypto asset trading profits from comprehensive taxation to self-assessment separate taxation. It also proposes a 3-year term for deducting losses from the digital assets value depreciation. Lastly, the JBA requests the elimination of income tax on the profit generated each time an individual exchanges crypto assets. These changes that JBA argues are necessary for the borderless Web3 era, where the exchange of crypto assets could become mainstream of the economic zone and tax calculation could be extremely difficult due to the wide variety of transactions and types of crypto assets. Russia is moving forward with its central bank digital currency as President Vladimir Putin signed the digital ruble bill into law. With this approval, the digital ruble law is officially scheduled to take effect from August 1st, 2023, with all but one rule ready to be enforced. Article 3, which includes amendments to several Russian federal laws, including those related to bankruptcy and inheritance, is expected to take effect from August 2024. The new legislation officially empowers the Russian central bank to launch the first CBDC pilot with real consumers. Previously, the government expected to roll out trials in April in collaboration with 13 local banks. Curve Finance experienced a $24 million exploit this weekend. Hackers plundered the DeFi protocol's liquidity pool through smart contract bugs employing Viper coding language. In 24 hours since the exploit, the Curve DAO token dropped 12% to 63 cents. Aside from the millions stolen, Curve's hack revealed a surprising vulnerability in Viper code, further making us, the same people, question how safe other blue chip protocols like Aave, Compound, or even Uniswap are. Several thought leaders in the DeFi space commented on Curve's exploit, such as MakerDAO co-founder Rune Christensen and Aave founder Stani Kulachov. This might seem like an it's over moment, but perhaps it's just this cycle's Black Thursday, the last crash before the bull market, with everything coming back 100 times stronger, Christensen said on Twitter. The US Securities and Exchange Commission has filed a lawsuit against Richard Schuller, also known as Richard Hart, the creator of Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hacks. The SEC alleges that Hart sold unregistered securities, raising over $1 billion from token sales for their projects. The lawsuit also accuses Hart and Pulse Chain of defrauding investors and misappropriating at least $12 million of customer funds for personal luxury purchases. The SEC highlighted that the price of Hex has fallen 98.4% from its peak, rendering tokens for the other two projects practically worthless. And finally, this story is just so lovely, it makes my eyes water. I mean, the US representative, member of the US Congress, George Santos, who's serving his first term, has been charged with 13 counts, 13 offenses, including embezzling campaign donations, falsely receiving unemployment benefits, and lying to the House of Representatives. The New York Times reported that one of his crypto schemes appeared to be influenced by the Nigerian prince-like email fraud. Santos, with the help of two of his associates, approached a campaign donor claiming to be a wealthy Polish, for some reason, citizen. Who wanted to purchase the digital currencies but was unable to do so because his assets were frozen again for some reason. I mean, Russian maybe, but Polish. The trio asked the donor to establish a limited liability company so they could access the funds, but they did not disclose the identity of the Polish investor or the reason the assets were frozen. Santos and associates requested the contributor to sign a non-disclosure agreement. After the donor requested more details, the negotiations came to an end when the donor requested revisions to the agreement. Anyway, I'll leave the link to the full report by the New York Times in the description. Please enjoy. It reads like a spy novel. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Remember to sign up to all of our channels, YouTube, and especially TikTok. Thank you for watching. Peace.